Hi, my name is Shomo Mitra. Welcome to Mitra University, your free resource on indie filmmaking, brought to you by 3dmicpro.com. Mitra University training resources are designed for indie filmmakers. So I will often draw analogy between audio engineering and camera operations to show you how similar they are. It will help you to remember and learn even faster. Today's topic: setting proper recording level during live field recording. In this training workshop, you will learn everything you need to know about setting proper recording level. At the end of this workshop, you'll be able to field record any sound source with confidence and produce Hollywood quality sound. To demonstrate the field recording technique, I will use two Mitra patent pending microphones, Mitra Beamer and 3D Mic Pro. However, this tutorial is also valid for any microphone from other manufacturers. Beamer is our latest patent pending directional mic with the ultra fidelity and extremely low self noise. As on today, Beamer is the most technologically advanced mic using the physics of beam-forming mic array, which was only accessible by scientists and research workers in the labs of MIT and other top universities. This is the first time Mitra Beamer brings you the power of beam-forming mic array for your filmmaking use. 3D Mic Pro is our patent-pending psychoacoustic mic, which captures sound 360 degree. So you can use 3D Mic Pro with any camera, audio recorder, or even with your iPhone or smartphones. With simple post-processing, you can generate Dolby 5.1 AC3 surround file from 3D mic recording. Mitra 3D Mic Pro makes complex immersive surround recording as easy as 1, 2, 3 and brings it within the reach and budget of any indie filmmaker. Okay, now that you know all about the latest innovation from Mitra, let me start our training by sharing with you the golden rule of audio engineering, which is close miking. Always try to place your mic close to the sound source. This will help you to get strong signal while keeping the unwanted ambient noises down. If you move very close, within say a few inches from the sound source, it will create some additional issues due to mic proximity effect. So I will cover those in a separate training workshop. Frankly, for live field recording during filmmaking, we seldom have opportunity to do extreme close miking, as we need to keep the mic out of the movie frame. So for this workshop, I will suggest keep your mic within 2 to 3 feet away from the sound source if possible. Okay, now let us take a close look at the recording level. What is a recording level? In simple terms, recording level indicates the strength of electrical audio signal your recorder is recording. All professional digital audio recorders have a built-in recording level indicator, and they are marked with a negative decibel or dB numbers. You do not need to understand the decibel to learn how to set correct level. Just remember, decibel number is actually a ratio, just like the aperture f-stop number in your camera lens. If you're curious to know more about decibel, you can learn it in a separate Mitra University tutorial. The span of the level meter scale indicates the audio signal level your recorder can record without any noise or distortion. The maximum sound signal level the recorder can record is always marked as -0 dB. The minimum signal level is marked as some other negative number, such as -50 dB. The lowest level number can vary. It's not always 50 dB. It varies from recorder to recorder. But the max level is always marked as -0 dB. Let us learn how to set proper recording level. The best way to learn it is to compare it with camera exposure. There are a lot of similarity between setting correct recording level and correct exposure. Just think this audio recorder level meter as the exposure meter of your camera. They are quite similar in operation. In both of these meters, the safe audio level and correct camera exposure indicated at the midpoint of the scale. In Cine Camera, point the metering sensor over the object which we want to expose properly and rotate the aperture ring to bring the exposure meter needle to the mid scale. In an audio recorder, you point mic to the sound source and turn the gain control knob so that the level meter reading stays mostly at the mid scale. But for the most of the time, the sound signal fluctuates constantly. So your level will constantly go up and down. Try to adjust the gain in such a way so that the level meter's level mostly dance around the mid scale. Also make sure the peak sound level should not exceed -6 dB. Let me illustrate this technique by setting proper recording level for my voice. I will first hum a tone at a normal conversation level and set the recorder level to -20 dB. And I'll do it like this. Now I will fine-tune this level by speaking some test sentences and make sure the peak never exceeds -6 dB. I prefer to use some greeting words like "Hey, how are you?" than conventional mic testing 1 2 3 or check check. This is because we habitually greet others with louder voice with more energy, and that will help me to set the -6 dB level for the probable loudest peak. Okay, hey, how are you? Hey. Okay, now this recorder is set to record, set to the optimal recording level to record my voice from this particular distance. If the distance and direction between the mic and sound source changes, then this recording level may not be valid anymore. Remember, sound obeys inverse square law just like light, and the sound energy drops very rapidly as we move away from the close proximity of the mic. So if you're quite close to the sound source, try not to change the mic position after setting a proper recording level. Observe how by moving the mic in and out by 2 feet from my mouth, how much level difference it creates. Hello, or just hum a sound. That's quite a difference in level, isn't it? Okay, I know some of you may have this question. Why I have told you to set the max peak level to 6 dB, right? This is to keep a safety margin or headroom between peak -6 dB and recorder max level -0 dB. Remember, any signal touching and exceeding the 0 dB will be cleanly clipped off, just like an electric gardening shear levels the top of shrubs and bushes. The clipped part of the signal will be lost forever. The technical term of this dreaded calamity is called clipping. You can also tell if the recorded audio is clipped by looking at the signal waveform in your digital audio workstation. Any waveform with uniform flat top head is most likely a clipped signal. For high quality recording, your key goal will be to avoid clipping by any cost. During field recording, always monitor the live signal by using a headphone and manually adjust the level slightly as soon as you see the average signal is getting higher than -12 dB. Again, let me emphasize on the word slightly. Overcorrection in the level will be very noticeable in your final recording. So do not try to continuously crank up and down the gain to keep the level at mid-scale. This is absolutely wrong, and it will do more harm to your recording. There is no way you can tackle a loud sound transient manually with our very slow 1/10 of a second human reflex. The engineers actually invented a device which does exactly the same. They continuously monitor the sound level and automatically bring down the recorder gain as soon as the sound signal level touches a preset threshold. This device is called a limiter or a compressor. This is an indispensable tool for any sound engineer. If we draw an analogy with camera, then a limiter's counterpart will be a graduated neutral density filter. We use a grad ND to block only the very bright sky or light, very bright sources, so that the bright parts do not get overexposed while keeping the exposure of the other parts unchanged. A limiter or compressor effectively compresses the dynamic range of the sound, fits both low and high intensity sound in the recording without clipping or distortion. If we compare with a camera operation, compressed sound recording will be like a HDR photograph. The good news is the most professional grade audio recorder has some kind of inbuilt limiter. In some recorders we can switch the limiter on and off, and in some recorder the limiter is inserted permanently in the signal processing chain. If you have a digital audio recorder, then it is very likely it may also has an inbuilt limiter. Unfortunately, not all limiter circuits are built alike. Some limiter circuits are very good, we call them transparent. As you can barely feel, they are actively limiting the peak signal by listening to the recording. But some limiter circuits are quite primitive, and we call them brick wall limiter. What they do is to prevent the peak to hit minus 0 dB, but with much brute force, much abrupt attenuation, which saves the recording from getting clipped, but the resultant effect is not very musical to our ear. Let me demonstrate how a limiter can save our day. First, I speak at normal and louder level without limiter, and then I do the same recording with a limiter. This is a test without limiter. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello? Hello? Now I am engaging the limiter. Now I am testing with the limiter on. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you're thinking about investing in a digital audio recorder, put the audio limiter quality as a decision-making criteria. As your recording audio quality will depend greatly on this inbuilt limiter's capability, and depending on your recorder's design, you may or may not be able to turn the limiter off. So if your inbuilt limiter quality is poor, then you will have no other option but to invest on an external field mixer with a high quality limiter. Well, that can be a substantial investment by itself and can easily exceed your recorder price. And also, not to mention, it will be another equipment to lug along. If you record your audio directly in a DSLR or video camera, then you might have noticed there is a setting in your camera which says something like Auto Level Control ALC or Automatic Gain Control AGC. Apparently ALC or AGC may sound like a limiter, but they are not. A limiter has a threshold. Limiter only kicks in when sound signal exceeds a predefined level, but an ALC continuously cranks the gain up and down, keep the sound level at midpoint. This creates a very annoying ALC pumping effect.
This is a test for ALC. Please notice the high amount of ambient noise and the sound of the ticking clock as soon as I pause. When I speak, ALC senses my voice and reduces the gain to keep the recording level at minus 12 dB. When I pause, it doesn't sense any signal and increases the gain to keep the recording level same at minus 12 dB, thereby increasing the ambient noise. Again, as I speak, it reduces the gain and the ambient noise disappears. This is called ALC pumping effect.
This dreaded pumping effect has no place in professional quality sound recording. So never ever use ALC in your camera unless you are deliberately want your recording to sound consumer grade. Actually, it is not a good idea to record audio in your camera or DSLR at all. If possible, always use high quality external audio recorder to record audio, and always set the sound level in the recorder manually. Till now, I have discussed how to set recording level for normal conversation level sound. I will now show you how to record very faint and feeble sound sources. It is a different beast altogether, and we just cannot use the mid-scale -6 dB technique I have discussed so far. It is like learning how to set exposure for night photography. We cannot use exposure meter to determine exposure for any night photograph. For example, if we expose a moonlit landscape by using an exposure meter reading, we'll end up with a grainy and noisy picture which will look like it has been shot in broad daylight and nowhere near as a night shot. This is because the exposure of an object, as indicated by center point of the exposure meter, will always make it look like a 40% gray object. If our subject is not 40% gray in tone, and if they are actually dark black or bright white in color, then sampling the exposure from them will definitely wrongly expose our photograph. The same situation will happen in our audio recording if we try to set the level for a feeble sound as -12 dB. Just think for a second. If you are trying to record a sound, a feeble sound like a ticking clock, a chirping bird, or a distant police siren, and you crank up the recorder gain to set a level meter reading close to -12 dB, then what are those signals you are seeing in the level meter? There are barely any sound, so from where they are coming from? Well, those are mostly all unwanted electrical noise generated by various electronic circuits of your recorder and your microphone. You may be surprised to know that even the molecular vibration of air inside the mic elements produces considerable noise. Even the batteries of your recorder and your mic produces a lot of electrical noise. Collectively, all those noises sounds like a constant hissing sound. You'll definitely do not want to have them in your recording. So recording feeble sound will require a special technique and very low noise equipment. Number one, you need to have a very low noise mic. Mic is a significant contributor to the electrical noise in your recording. If your mic is not a low noise one, you will never able to record a low level sound which is close to your mic's noise floor. Let me show you how mics add to the noise level during a feeble sound recording. I will do a classic ticking clock test by placing a ticking clock about 6 feet from the test microphones, and I will record through each of them after setting the same -30 dB recording level. I will use for this test two mics. One will be a very reputed shotgun mic used by broadcast professionals all over the world, and the other one will be our ultra low noise beamforming mic array, Mitra Beamer. I will connect both this mic to a professional quality recorder, a Marantz PMD 661. My same advice goes for audio recorders, as they produce considerable noise in their preamplifiers. Recorder manufacturers provide the signal to noise ratio number for their recorders. Higher the number, lower will be the noise. However, I prefer to select my recorder based on my hearing experience. Our ears are surprisingly sensitive and accurate to detect any flaw or noise or distortion in sound. It is possible to rent few recorders and run your own ticking clock test. That will immediately reveal to you which one is the lowest noise one. And do not forget to repeat the test with an ultra low noise external mic like Mitra Beamer. Often recorders use separate preamps for internal and external mics, and these two preamps can have quite different signal to noise ratio. Okay, now you have low noise mic and a low noise recorder. Let me show you the technique. Maximize the signal strength by following the golden rule. Move as close as the feeble sound source as possible. Then set the recording level to -12 dB by humming a normal conversation level tone from about 3 feet or an arm's length between your mouth and the mic. This is very similar to incident light metering technique. The same thing we are trying to achieve here. We are not trying to set the level meter by monitoring or just setting it according to the feeble sound source, but we are setting the audio level to a normal conversation level sound and let the recorder record all the other sound with respect to that level. So don't worry if the level meter does not show much level. It will surely record the feeble sound source as best as it can without introducing unwanted hiss and noise. Sure, that recorded sound may not be too loud, but do you really want to render a feeble sound as a thundering roar in your film? Oh, that will be most unnatural. The hallmark of a good quality recording is to record and reproduce sound with utmost fidelity, just like you hear with your own ear. To learn more about filmmaking and producing professional quality audio, visit mitrausa.com website. You may subscribe to 3D Mic Pro YouTube or Vimeo channels to get notification about our new tutorials on indie filmmaking. If you have any questions regarding this tutorial, post it in our 3D Mic Pro Facebook page. Stay tuned for more filmmaking training resources and tutorials by Mitra.